Galaxy S24.
The best call to make on game day is ordering catering from the Piccalilli Inn. For parties big or small, the Pick does it all. Your guests will be cheering for the Pick spin on football favorites like pulled pork nachos, cheesesteaks, burgers, and their award-winning buffalo wings, tails, and ears. Get your chicken wing fix on Route 206 at the Piccalilli Inn. Join the flock and follow the Pick on Facebook or at piccalilli.com for their Pick game specials. And be sure to pre-order to guarantee your spot in Sunday's lineup.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig.
Let's go!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Let's go!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hennig.
Well, that was an interesting game, the way that played out. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios on 97.3 ESPN. Listen, if you were someone, I saw what Shader and EHT texted in earlier at 609-403-0973. If you were someone who only watched the first quarter of the Eagles game yesterday, you probably thought they lost. But per usual, this team keeps finding ways to win the game in the second and fourth quarter of the game. Is it sustainable? We'll talk about it coming up here in the Power Hour on 97.3 ESPN. Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media. He covers the Eagles in the NFC East for NJ.com. He will join us coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. As always, you guys can join the conversation as well at 609-403-0973. I put out on the Twitter X platform last night, I said, this team, despite injuries, found a way to win a game. And I don't just mean the injuries for the game, right? No Devonta Smith playing yesterday. That was obviously a big negative for the Eagles in terms of the balance of their offense. But then the Ben Van Sumeren news. I mean, the guy got injured in practice. It looks like he's out for the year now. So that was a surprise on Friday. If you were out shopping on Black Friday or you're spending time with your family, maybe you're in a turkey coma the next day, you probably didn't know about Ben Van Sumeren's injury until yesterday, honestly. But, that was a surprise that jumped up on the injury report on Friday. So you had the injuries before the game. No Darius Slay, he's in the concussion protocol. But then during the game, look what happened. Reed Blankenship, he gets a concussion. You saw Dallas Goedert leave the game with a knee issue, which the Eagles claim is not serious, but they're hoping that he's going to be back sooner than later. We'll see. It seems like Dallas Goedert gets injured every single year. The Quinyon Mitchell injury got me the most scared because when I saw him get twisted up and go down, I tried to be composed on the outside, but in my mind, I'm thinking, oh no, this is it. This is the injury that will break this team. He came back in. I was so much relieved. Despite all the problems yesterday the Eagles had, they found a way to win the game. And I think that at some point, we do have to realize that, and I got to give Sirianni credit, because for a guy who is the master of the word salad, for a guy who is the master of saying nothing, I thought he gave a great answer when he was asked yesterday at the press conference of what the Eagles learned from what failed them last season. I'm glad he said this. Take a listen. This is Nick Sirianni, his opinion on when asked, what did you guys learn from last year's collapse?
Last year's over. We don't care about last year. We learned what we needed to learn from last year, and what we needed to do off of that. And this year is a different group of guys, a different group. This is a different team that's gelling and meshing on all cylinders right now. But with that being said, you're only as good as your last game. We got a big game coming up this weekend.
That's the answer that needs to be had. That's the attitude that needs to be out there. Because if you dwell on the past, you're never going to get to your future. You know, I'll forget who said it, but I remember somebody said a while ago, and it was a quote that was shared around social media for a while. The person said, you know, if you spend your life staring in the rearview mirror, you have no idea what's in front of you. And it's a great perspective. I think there is a contingent of Eagle fans who are so stuck on last year that they just can't let it go, while the Eagles themselves have moved on. And I'm so glad they have, because last year, there was a major reason why they were bad last year. It was because of the defense. The defense was probably the greatest disappointment in my view last year. You had a defense that was supposed to be able to at least get close to what you were the year before, and they never got close. The Eagles defense last year, through 13 games, which is what we are right now, they were allowing 22.2 points per game against. They have cut that by 4 points. They are now down to 18.2 points per game. This defense, during the winning streak, just through the 8 games, is allowing under 16 points a game. They have improved so much from last year to this year. And that's why, for me, look, people could talk all they want about Saquon Barkley in the rushing yards and Jalen Hurts in the pass attempts and how many times they should run slant routes, which I do agree with some of you. I mean, I told somebody yesterday at Doyle's Poorhouse in Tuckerton for our Eagles watch party where we gave away a Saquon Barkley jersey. I was telling somebody at the bar, I said, I don't understand why they don't run more of these, 3-step drop, get the ball out of Hurts' hands, slant routes more, because you saw it multiple times in the game yesterday. That play is borderline unstoppable for Philadelphia. So for me, I never understood why that organization seems, they seem obsessed with just not doing the most obvious thing to do, the obvious play. I'll never understand it. It'll never make sense to me, but we move on. So for Philadelphia, you're talking about a team that was shorthanded yesterday and found a way to win. And I love what Chris Long said on his podcast, Greenlight Pod, because he talked about the man who you could argue is most responsible for this team being where they are right now. It's Vic Fangio. Take a listen.
When Vic Fangio was hired in Philadelphia, a thing I heard a lot was the league has figured out his style of defense, whatever that means. It's run its course. The guys in Miami didn't like him. I felt like there was a turning point at some point in this season for the defense, and I think it has everything to do with the way he's developed guys.
How he's developed guys. Think about what that means, because last year, how disappointing was it when Jalen Carter hit that rookie wall? How little of an impact, basically no impact, Nolan Smith had. How basically every linebacker they put in last year was ineffective or borderline useless, right? How numerous guys that you thought were going to step up. Jordan Davis, where was he last year, right? Milton Williams, he took a step back. Pretty much everyone who had a bad year or a disappointing year last year has gotten better this year. More from Chris Long on the Greenlight Pod.
Nakobe Dean has developed this year. Cooper DeJean's insertion into the lineup. Who turned Zach Bond into the player he is today just by being like, hey, look, maybe we should just stick him inside. Stop around with all this other stuff. It's also a testament to how misused players can be in the NFL, and you think they're one thing and you have no idea what they could be. Vic Fangio bringing a certain level of maturity to this building.
It's really a big deal, because I don't think that we genuinely appreciate how, when you are a football team, it matters who your coaches are. It matters in football arguably more than any other sport. And I think for me, I keep looking back on what happened last year. And I keep saying, you know what? Fangio does deserve credit. There were so many reports out there about how Sean Desai was a poor communicator. Guys didn't know where to be. They weren't know what they're supposed to do last year. Guys didn't like Desai or Patricia. There was a lot of negative vibes and energy coming out of that building last year. And so the fact that people are still wondering, is this team going to collapse like they did last year? When really everything about this team is different than last year, except for the head coach. And at the end of the day, isn't the whole point of hiring Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio so the head coach doesn't derail this team? If you're somebody who, like Chris Canny on Unsportsmanlike each morning here on 97.3 ESPN, listen, I think overall they do a really good job of the show, okay? I'm just going to preface it by saying I really, really enjoy Evan Cohen. I think that he is arguably one of the best additions to the ESPN radio lineup of the last 20 years, in my opinion. And I think the back and forth that him, Michelle Smallman, and Chris Canny have is a lot of fun. But I wish I knew what Canny's beef is with Nick Sirianni, because it's people like him who continue to propagate this idea that Sirianni's a loser, right? Nick Sirianni just keeps winning. I mean, the dude is in a category with only Hall of Famers at this point when it comes to wins to start his career, wins in his last 70 games, and you keep going through all these numbers, right? It's like the dude's in a category with historic people, but yet I got people like Chris Canny saying this in the morning and driving me nuts on 97.3 ESPN.
Has Nick Sirianni guaranteed himself of a job with the Eagles next year?
No. He's still got to win a playoff game minimum. He has to. I don't care if they get the number 1 seed in the first round bye. If they're one and done in the divisional round at home, it's on the board that the Eagles could still move off of Nick Sirianni.
He's wrong, because to make a blanket statement like that is ignorant. I go back to the 2019 season when the Eagles should not have made the postseason, and Carson Wentz had arguably a better year statistically in 2019 than he did in 2017. They get to the postseason. Jadeveon Clowney makes an illegal hit on Carson Wentz. Nobody throws the flag. Nobody reviews it. He gets concussed. He's knocked out of the game. First of all, if the refs throw the flag in that playoff game, that game might have played out totally differently. Second of all, Josh McCown comes in as a backup quarterback playing with a torn hamstring. The dude could barely move, and they still had a chance to win the game. The Eagles' defense did everything they could in that game to win them the game, and the offense did nothing without Carson Wentz. You got to the postseason with the band of misfit toy receivers. Josh Perkins, Deontay Burnett, Greg Ward. I mean, the only guy of significance on that team was Zach Ertz. Everyone else was injured. So, they lost in the first round of a playoff game at home. So the circumstances of these losses matter. It's not fair to just put all the blame on the head coach. And as Chris Long said, look at all these young players. Look at all these young guys who are developing because of Vic Fangio. I give more credit. I'm not saying Sirianni doesn't deserve criticism, because I've criticized him plenty here on 97.3 ESPN. My deal is, when I look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I look at Vic Fangio as arguably one of the biggest reasons for this team's success. And I think that when you look forward, I think the defense is going to matter as much, if not more, than the offense. Because at the end of the day, I got a stat for you guys before we hit the break. You look around the NFL, the top 10 teams in rushing yards this year, 8 of them are projected playoff teams. Here's the list: Baltimore Ravens, Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders, Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers, Tampa Bay Bucks, Pittsburgh Steelers, New Orleans Saints. For reference, the Bills are 13th and the Texans are 14th. So, of the top 14 teams in rushing this year, 10 of them are projected playoff teams. Saints are not making the playoffs. They're a mess. And the 49ers, they're so injured, it doesn't even matter at this point. So, realistically, you're going to need that defense in the playoffs. And you see the way Cooper DeJean took down Derrick Henry. You saw the way they stifled the Ravens' run offense, just like they did with the Rams with Kyron Williams. This defense is playing fundamental sound football. And if Jalen Carter keeps dominating the way he is, it's going to make this team continue to be a force to be reckoned with. We'll talk with Chris Franklin from NG Advanced Media about more about it coming up next. I'm Josh Hennig, live in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea City.
This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles continue the 2024 season this Sunday, hosting the Carolina Panthers.
Looking, he is firing, and it is caught for a touchdown! H.J. Brown!
Pre-game coverage starts at noon with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the action starting at 1 p.m. This is the play-by-play home of the Philadelphia Eagles. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
I need a new car. Under 20 grand? Okay, well, what's my trade worth? You know what? I'm going to Matt Blatt Kia, where I can get some straight talk.
Brand new Matt Blatt Kia Forte LXS, under 20 grand. That's right, a brand new Kia, just $19,999. With any trade, that's less than most used vehicles. Currently buried in a loan or lease, Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released and into your new Kia with zero down, zero payments until February, even 0% for 72 months on every clearly marked new Matt Blatt Kia in stock. So bring any trade, because if you have a job clearing $450 per week, we want to get you approved today.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 1 full EV9, $13.89 per thousand finance. Not all will qualify. Credit and down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to MattBlackKiaFJ.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes. Paying after rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 12/4/24. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one?
We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery?
We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Winter is approaching. Are you prepared? Don't get left in the dark. Kelvy Electric, a certified Generac dealer, has you covered. From installation to maintenance, they're your go-to experts for Generac generators, ensuring your home stays powered through any storm. A Generac home standby generator will automatically restore power to your home during an outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Put your trust in Kelvy Electric, the premier electrical contractor, serving South Jersey for over 110 years. Visit KelvyElectric.com today and stay ahead of any storm.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first, before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Thanks to Total Wine, you saved more on all the gifts for the ones you adore. Wine, spirits, beers, all nestled on shelves.
Curbside pickup available, and the lowest prices for over 30 years only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
NBA, the Sixers back on the road Tuesday night, traveling to take on the Charlotte Hornets. It comes off a victory Saturday against Detroit, where they beat the Pistons 111-96. Kyrie's maxi 28 points in that victory. It stopped a 2-game losing skid, but was just Philadelphia's 4th win of the season. Flyers back on the ice Thursday. They'll be hosting the Florida Panthers, who are the defending Stanley Cup champions. Philadelphia's won 3 straight after beating the St. Louis Blues on Saturday 3-2 in overtime. NFL, the Eagles defeated the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday 24-19. They win their 8th straight game, going to 10-2 on the season. Saquon Barkley had a 25-yard touchdown run. That came in the fourth quarter. He had 107 yards on the ground. Jalen Hurts added a 1-yard score, and he also had a touchdown pass to Dallas Goedert. Monday Night Football tonight, the Cleveland Browns at 3-8 visit the 7-5 Denver Broncos. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
I'm Dr. Caitlin Baston, New Jersey's health commissioner. As a physician and a mother, I know the importance of vaccines. They protect us all from serious illness. With your kids in school, help them stay healthy and ready to learn. Get them vaccinated against COVID, flu, and other preventable diseases. Set a date today. Learn more at nj.gov/health/vaccines.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zero. Tomorrow's weather, same story, different day. Skies stay bright, temperatures stay cold, and that goes for tonight, too. We're dipping to around 28 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high only 41. Increasing clouds on Wednesday and turning breezy, high 42. Thursday morning, could see some snow and rain showers around. It's going to be a windy, blustery day, falling from the lower 40s into the 30s. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Oh, yeah, it's on. Nissan. If you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released. Matt Blatt Nissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll check in with Shaner and EHT and others in just a bit, 609-403-0973. But right now, as promised, joining me on the phone line, it's Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media, NJ.com, talk more about the Eagles as they are now on a 8-game winning streak. Chris, they survived despite the injuries down in Baltimore. How you doing today, my friend?
Not bad, man. That game ended completely different from the way it looked like it started, because it's almost like, okay, here we go. But yeah, they find turnaround. Maybe they need to, I don't know if they need to get called. I don't know if they need to get injections to like start the clock in the locker room, saying it's the second quarter, what have you. But yeah, they need to do something. These starts, man.
I mean, I'm going to ask you this question, and you might not be able to answer it because your job is covering the team every day. So, and I know for you, you don't want to speak out of turn, but I got to ask you, like, you know, the conversation is always that, like, you know, coaches write the first 15 to 20 plays, and it's like, is just Kellen Moore the worst play scripter in, like, the history of the world, but he also happens to be the greatest in-game adjuster in the history of the world? Like, I don't get it.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think some of it goes on Moore, some of it goes on the players as well, too. Because there were, part of the script, I probably saw about 2, maybe 3 of those first 15 plays should have hit for a lot longer, whether it be Jalen not picking a guy up deep or a guy not running a route as crisp as it should be in order to get open and the lack of separation. But, yeah, I mean, at this point, I know if teams are going to, especially if they're taking the mantra of they want to be a physical team, we're going to bully you and go after it. I don't think it's going to hurt if you just start out the game with 2 straight runs. You got Saquon Barkley. He ripped off that 12-yard run to begin the game. It's like, all right, you see this going, you see how the way it's going. And then they went throw, which I get the Ravens were 31st in passing coming into it. But at least get a rhythm so that way you get that first down, and then you really start to get your drive and momentum going. But the script is it's going to bite them. You hope it doesn't bite them when it's too late in the playoffs or something like that. But it's definitely an area of concern.
You know, you mentioned about the passing. I think back to the fact that, you know, I was at my Eagles watch party yesterday at Doyle's Poorhouse in Tuckerton, and I was talking with one of the Eagle fans at the bar about how they had that stretch in the game where they just had these quick 3-step drops, boom, A.J. Brown. Quick 3-step drop, boom, gets it to the next guy. And it's like, why don't they do more of that? Like, why are you, like, I don't understand why the team, Kellen Moore, Nick Sirianni, Doug Nussmeier, whoever you want to lump in there, Jeff Stoutland, Partridge in a Pear Tree, lump them all in there. Like, who is the person in the meeting who's saying, you know what, these quick slants aren't working. Let's not do that as much. Like, when it always seems to work.
Yeah, and I think for Jalen as well too, it works because when you look at it, it just allows him to get into a rhythm early. When you look at when this offense operates best, where it seems to come out of this funk, is when they start going with the no huddle, and he feels more comfortable with it. Whether it be because he did it when he was back in college and running in Oklahoma and stuff like that, to all of a sudden now he's in the NFL and doing it. And that RPO game, and I think I blame partly the Ravens with this as well too, because their middle of the field in pass defense has been bad all year, especially with Kyle Hamilton, which is weird. But you look at that, and I think this is more of a byproduct of what the Ravens were doing, and it was there all day. The digs, inside digs, they literally could have gone. A.J. Brown could have had 150, 200 yards. If they really focused on doing that, and they were executing well, because that middle of the field was bad. And you look at it, and I think a lot of the times, I think when you see Devontae Smith come back, I think they'll take a little note and check a note about that, and maybe they still use it. You got AJ Brown's a big body guy that worked the middle of the field, and he's got experience doing it. But I think you can get away with it, Devontae as well too. And it's one of those things where it's a byproduct. And also, you got to worry about teams loading the box for Saquon Barkley, and it's not always there. That was just a bad. Zach Gore, I know it's his first year being defensive coordinator and stuff without that game plan, and it's tough to say that, especially when they hold the Eagles to 118 yards. But I think it was more the Eagles beating themselves for most of that game as opposed to the Ravens defense being that stout.
It's a very interesting point from Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media at C Franklin News on the Twitter X platform. Joining me, Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. You mentioned about the Eagles almost beating themselves. The Ravens, there were moments in that game where it was like, wow, you usually don't see these moments go in the Eagles' favor. Like Aguilar dropping a pass. We've seen that before, right? Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews dropping passes. Lamar Jackson maybe not running when he usually does, right? Allowing Jalen Carter the time to get to him on that sack. Like, there were moments in the game, Justin Tucker missing a field goal and extra point, where it was like, maybe the odds, the favor, the luck, whatever you want to call it, is rolling Philadelphia's way a little bit here.
I think it's one of those things where I think teams get frazzled. They know what's going on with this defense because, and when's the last time we said, wow, this Philadelphia Eagles defense is frazzling a lot of teams? It's been a hot minute when you look at it. But a lot of times you create your own luck. And when you're getting as much pressure as those 4 or 5 guys, or depending on the alignment, are getting on quarterbacks, when you're previously, like, say, I know that Mark Andrews' miss was egregious by not seeing him in the first drive, was egregious by Lamar Jackson, but when you look at all this stuff, the way they've been playing, when they do what they're supposed to, it's going to bail you out a couple times. And I don't know why Lamar Jackson didn't run a little bit more. I don't know if he's got that Donovan McNabb complex now where he's trying to throw in big games instead of just picking up and running a little bit when he's supposed to, because he doesn't want the term of being a running quarterback per se. He's a legit dual threat. Use what the gifts you were given and pick up a lot of yards. But the good thing, like the one thing I will say about this is, even if you do see a quarterback, who knows, say Josh Allen, if they make the Super Bowl, say if it's, I think, a dual threat, Jordan Love, not so much that he's like a Lamar Jackson per se, but the fact that they were able to step up and frustrate them as much as they did, it has to give you a little bit more confidence than what we previously thought, probably heading in, say, about like a month ago.
You mentioned the defense, and I was kind of inspired to look this up because of something I heard on a podcast. And, the 2017 and the 2024 Eagles are both top 5 in points per game allowed, top 5 in fewest total yards allowed. The big difference is that 2017, they were much better against the run, whereas the 2024 team was much better against the pass. So, there is some comparables. Let's be realistic. You can't really compare this team to 2022 because that year was just such a ridiculous year when it comes to the sacks. So I don't think we could ever really make that legitimate comparison. But, maybe there is something to be said for what you said, Chris, which is, it's not like every year this team is playing at this level defensively.
Yeah, and if anything, you'd rather this team be good against the pass because of the way it's such a passing league now to the point where against the run. And you look at who, excuse me, you look at who could potentially be there when they on this road. Yeah, I worry about the Lions. Those run Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Okay, yeah, there's that. But it's more controllable. You're not giving up the explosive plays and not giving up more points as plays to give a deep pass on Amon St. Brown. I feel more comfortable with putting on Mitchell or Amon St. Brown and trying to have Gibbs and Montgomery methodically move the ball down the field. So, excuse me. I look at that and I'm like, you know what? I think this 2024 team is built better for a potential title as opposed to 2022. And that's even saying, like you mentioned, the sacks things. I think that was more of some of the opponents as well they had on that schedule and the way that things were lining up. But yeah, and you also have more confidence in Vic Fangio calling that defense as opposed to Jonathan Gannon. So there's a lot of similarities, but I'd rather them be against the pass because Mahomes is going to be throwing the ball a lot. Allen will be throwing the ball a lot. And those are only two teams I really think seeing. I don't think the Ravens get to the Super Bowl. But when you see those quarterbacks, I'd rather trust them and going against them as opposed to I think they can handle the run game.
Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig here in the Ocho Casino Resort Studios. You mentioned Fangio. I played the audio from Chris Long a little bit earlier talking about how Fangio deserves more credit and about how, Chris Long is right when he says, coming into this year, people are like, well, the players didn't like Fangio in Miami. He's only had one top number one defense his entire career, blah, blah, blah. But what he has done to help Jalen Carter take that next step, get Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean in positions to be successful, taking a nobody in Zach Bond and turning him into a potential all-pro candidate, helping Nakobe Dean take that next step. Milton Williams looks like the second coming of something out there. I mean, this team defensively, it's like every player last year, Chris, that struggled is much better this year with Vic Fangio.
Yeah, I think it's a better situation overall heading in because look at that Miami team. They had a lot of veterans and, like everybody, once you get, the older you get, the more set in your ways and you start listening, this guy's going to try to rah-rah riot act, and it doesn't work. Now you look at this defense is really young and very impressionable because they're especially rookie. When you look at Mitchell, you look at DeJean, Carter, say his second year. They really don't know much better or anything else from what they had before, and they're very young. So when you listen to a guy who's been around like Fangio, and you listen to him basically be blunt, saying, "Hey, if you want to be good, this is what you do," instead of having maybe be taking the professor philosophical approach of, well, maybe you're right. Nah, Vic just tells you like it is, and you just move forward with that. I think that was what this defense really needed. It needed somebody to really instill the fact that you need to bring that physical presence back. I mean, I still remember the story of him telling me he showed them old, like, 1970s NFL films type things of people getting hit and everything. You think, like, okay, why is he doing this? Well, it got it anchored in their mind. So now these young guys, when they go on the field, hey, I want to be like that. I want to be on a film like that. And lo and behold, look at yesterday when you have a highlight type play where Cooper DeJean tackles Derrick Henry. So all this stuff that Vic Fangio is doing is done a great job. And I know I think the AP has an award for it. I know the PFWA has it, but for Assistant Coach of the Year. And when you look at the turnaround that he's done with this squad, to have him number one in a lot of categories, and especially when you look at how well they do against the pass, he's the front runner for that. I'll say Ben Johnson's up there too with the way the Detroit Lions putting up points, but the turnaround, I think Fangio is neck and neck with him.
Chris, the Philadelphia Eagles in their franchise history have never won more than 9 games in a row. So if history repeats itself, where do you see them tripping up in this month?
I think the Steelers game. And I thought the reason why I thought, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but the reason why I thought the Panthers could have been it was because of not so much of what the Panthers have personnel-wise, but that they're a scrappy team, and in terms of that, you don't want the Eagles to play down in competition because we've seen a couple teams recently in the last couple of weeks. We've seen them do that. But I think when you look at what the Steelers have in terms of you have a veteran quarterback in Russell Wilson who's fighting himself again, and I know the 400 plus yards. Yeah, I guess the Bengals defense is the Bengals defense, but still, he put up 400 plus yards. He knows where to go with the ball. George Pickens seemingly comes down with circus catches all the time. But more importantly, you look at their defense and T.J. Watt and where they can align them around the line of scrimmage. And you look at the rest of that defense, I think they present the biggest challenge overall. Now, some people say the Cowboys maybe because they're playing, but I don't see it. I think they're done. they're going to try. And
people are saying that are called Cowboy fans, Chris.
Yeah. You be looking around, it's like, you guys really think so? But you're surprised, like, Mike McCarthy's saving his job, and you can do this. Yeah, that's the best thing I think the best thing for Eagles is the Cowboys going on a streak here because if he comes back, that's perfect for the whole division. But yeah, the Steelers to me are the ones that present the biggest challenge.
So 2 things about the Steelers. One, that's actually the best case scenario for Philadelphia because in order for them to get the tiebreaker if they tie with the Lions, Chris, right? What are the tiebreakers? 1, head-to-head. Well, they haven't played each other. Number 2 is best win-loss percentage in games played within the conference. Well, the Steelers don't play in the conference. So if you're going to lose to anybody, lose to the AFC. Lose to the Steelers. Who cares as long as you win the rest of the games because then you can still have a chance with the Lions for the tiebreaker.
Yeah, and then the one after that, too. So they decide the common opponents. You need to steal. You don't care about the Steelers game, and you don't want to be tied around some of the common opponents. I think they're actually neck and neck on times, and you got to hope they lose one of those late games coming to see the Packers. They need the Packers to beat them at least once, because if you're tied with the conference record, you tie with common opponents, then it goes to point differential wins, and we know the way that their lines are running up.
Here's the full list. So I'll let you lose your mind before I let you go. Okay. So so every year, for those who don't know, Mike Gill makes me go find these lists every year, the tiebreakers, because nobody remembers them. And for some reason, I'm always able to find the official NFL guide within like 5 seconds. I don't know why. So I found it this year. I have it set up on a little draft so I can find it anytime I want. Okay. So 1 is head-to-head. 2 is win-loss tie percentage in conference. 3 is win-loss tie percentage in common games. Minimum of 4. So keep that in mind as well. Number 4, strength of victory. Number 5, strength of schedule. Number 6, best combined ranking among conference teams of points scored and points allowed.
Oh, that's fun. But I want to come down to the coin toss.
That would be the 11th one. There's actually a few more ahead of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see all go all the way down to the coin toss, and then just everybody looking around. Then who gets to call it? Who's standing around there? And then the shock and the utter disgust if you go tails. Tails never fails. Heads. Oh, enjoy that 2 seed and playing next week. Please let it go that far.
Yeah, before we get to the coin toss, it's also best combined ranking among all teams in points scored and points allowed. You also got best net points in the conference only, best net points in all games, also best net touchdowns in all games. I mean, who's the guy who has to figure out all these scenarios? Like, who's the person who said, you know what, we're going to figure out best net points in conference games, but if that doesn't work, we're going to go to the best net points in all games. Like, I mean, come on, man.
They use we see somebody commercial about AWS, so we're using AI and all this stuff. They use it for schedule, use it for that. And you might as well, at that point, if you have to go that far, might as well make an NFL version of the BCS and just let them decide, okay, you deserve this one. Enjoy that. Enjoy.
He's Chris Franklin, covers the Eagles in the NFL for NJ Advanced Media. Check out all of his work at NJ.com. And he joined me here on 97.3 ESPN. Chris, always appreciate you jumping on. Stay warm out there. It's gotten cold all of a sudden in South Jersey.
Yes, it's a beautiful time of the year. Let it get colder. I want to see the true football games now. We're in the 30s, and I need John Facenda over voiceovers for them. Yes, bring it on. Thanks for being on, man.
Absolutely. Chris Franklin joining me here. Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up on the other side, Shaner and EHT. We'll get to your texts and more. 609-403-0973 and your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. AFC action coming up with the Cleveland Browns at the red-hot Denver Broncos. Rookie quarterback Bo Nix in Denver looking to improve their record to an impressive 8-5. The confident Browns are coming off a big division win over the Steelers.
Listen to Monday Night Football on 97.3 ESPN. Brought to you by Ace Hardware Home Services, Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Visit acehardwarehomeservices.com to book today.
Tired of hearing no? Everywhere you go, we turn no into go during Black Nissan's November sales event. Say no to high-priced new cars. Brand new matte black Nissan Sentra S, just $19,999. Say no to low trade offers. AJ the Trade Man wants your trade, no matter the make, miles, or condition. Say no to down payments. Say no to payments for 90 days. And say no to high interest rates. 60 months, 0% financing on every clearly marked new Nissan. Backed by Matt Black's 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Tired of hearing no to a discount on a new ride? New 25 Sentra S, under 20 grand.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Black Nissan.
Approved Tier 1 credit for Matt. Negative equity finance. VIN number SY231649. MSRP 22,730 plus tax tag at $689.50. Offers can't be combined. 0% for 60 months. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlackNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 12/5/24.
It's on at Matt Black Nissan, the Black Horse Pipe, Egg Harbor Township.
Harbor Freight knows tool people like to keep busy. But with our Black Friday sale now through Monday, you'll want to free up some time. We're talking deals like our 5,000-watt generators under $800, 17-foot reach ladders for $99.99, and 40% off Icon Pro socket sets. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until 12/2/24 while supplies last. Limitations apply.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. Terms and conditions apply.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first, before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large, because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Cooper's our new neighbor down the shore.
Introducing Cooper University Hospital, Cape Regional.
Healthcare is going to improve in Cape May County.
We're excited to bring our award-winning care to our new neighbors in Cape May and Atlantic counties. You'll have greater access to top specialists, advanced technology, innovative treatments, and outstanding cancer care at MD Anderson Cancer Center at Cooper. Cooper University Healthcare.
Extraordinary happens here.
Let's face it, winter can be a hard season. It's cold pretty much all the time. Blizzard. You have to shovel. Another blizzard. You slip on ice. But you know what makes winter suck a little less? Getting a free phone. Join Cricket Nation and get a free Samsung Galaxy A15 5G. Ouch. Welcome to Enjoying More. Welcome to Cricket Nation. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must open a new line on the $60 unlimited plan. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one?
We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery?
We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
It's Sage Jewelers' great half-off everything sale going on now.
Sage Jewelers says everything in store is on sale at half off, including their watch collection, Seiko, Citizen, and G-Shock.
That's right, 50% off their finest selection of GIA certified diamonds, IGI certified lab-grown diamonds, engagement rings, top designer jewelry collections, and more.
But hurry, the sale won't last long. Sage Jewelers, the real jeweler, Tilton Road, Northfield, open every day until Christmas.
The holidays are here at the Home Depot. If you're working on getting ready for company,
A lot of company.
make sure you're ready with Black Friday savings. Get up to 40% off select appliances, plus up to an extra $1,000 off select kitchen appliances. Upgrade your kitchen with top brands like GE Profile and get sleek cutting-edge appliances to make sure you
Got hosting handled.
Yeah, you do. Get Black Friday savings now with free delivery and financing on select appliances this holiday at the Home Depot. Offer valid November 6th through December 4th. U.S. only. See store online for details.
Shop Dell Technologies Cyber Monday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Cyber Monday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
The best call to make on game day is ordering catering from the Piccalilli Inn. For parties big or small, the Pick does it all. Your guests will be cheering for the Pick spin on football favorites like pulled pork nachos, cheesesteaks, burgers, and their award-winning buffalo wings, tails, and ears. Get your chicken wing fix on Route 206 at the Piccalilli Inn. Join the flock and follow the Pick on Facebook or at Piccalilli.com for their Pick game specials. And be sure to pre-order to guarantee your spot in Sunday's lineup.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Before we check in on the text board at 609-403-0973 and your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, I did want to give a shout out to one of our advertisers here at 97.3 ESPN. For those who may have heard the news, when I was in a car accident a few weeks ago, yes, I am fine. I am okay. I have posted this multiple times on social media. This is not breaking news, but I need a new vehicle. And we didn't have any live shows Friday on 97.3 ESPN. So I want to say thank you to Bennett Chevy and all the folks over there, Nicole, Andy, Justin, everybody. Thank you so much for hooking me up with my new Chevy. I need a new vehicle. I was running out of days on the rental that I had, and I got a new vehicle. I'm driving it around, and I'm in it because of Bennett Chevy. So thank you to those folks over there at Bennett Chevy for your help with me on Black Friday. It was a busy day, too. They were busy in there. I wasn't the only customer in there, but they took care of me, and they let me get some of my work done while I was sitting there. The Eagles injury report you guys saw pop up on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app on Friday. I posted that while I was at the dealership trying to get my next vehicle. So I got the new vehicle. I'm good now. But thank you to Bennett Chevy and all the folks over there for your help on Black Friday. All right, to the text board, 609-403-0973. Shaner in the EHC chimes in, hey, Josh, did you notice the way Jalen threw that ball to AJ to the lower part of the body over the middle? It was accurate to protect him while Lamar set Andrews up to get lit up. It's an amazing catch, but he could have gotten nailed and hurt. Accuracy hasn't been Jalen's MO, but he protected his guys. From Shaner and EHT. Shaner, I think the idea of Hurts not being accurate is a bit of a misnomer because, when he was in college, that 1 year at Oklahoma, he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks to all of college football. And I think that gets overlooked because it was 2019. It seems like it was so long ago. And if you go back to 2022, he was very accurate that year too. I think where Jalen is accurate is the play you just described. Those quick slant routes. Those, get the ball out of his hands for him to think about it. There was one play where Jalen was trying to throw that deep ball to A.J. Brown up his left. And he just saw him holding it. And he was waiting for the play to work out. And it just felt like it was a wasted play. It felt like it was totally necessary because I think Jalen is better when he is asked to be decisive, when he is told, hey, get the ball out of your hands quickly. Don't overthink it. I think, listen, I'm one of the world's most foremost overthinkers, okay? I am the expert at overthinking when it comes to overthinking. And let me tell you something. When I see an overthinker, I know it on the first sight. Jalen overthinks. You can see the steam coming out of his helmet sometimes. You can see him just like, it's just churning in his mind. Like he's, I got to go. What about that? It's like, no, take the overthinking away from him. Let him just go. Get the ball out of his hand. And like you said, he threw the ball, protected his guy, got a great first down to A.J. Brown. Well, he's doing it because he's not thinking. He's just doing. And I think that you saw it at Oklahoma when he was a runner-up for the Heisman. You saw it in 2022 when he was a runner-up for the MVP award. When you ask Jalen to execute and you don't ask Jalen to be a thinker, listen, he's not Peyton Manning. But not many guys are, right? There's such a small group of quarterbacks who can think while they're playing football. I was always told, I think it was, I might be wrongly attributing this, but I believe it was Rich Gannon, and I was listening to him on a show, and I forget what show it was off the top of my head, but I remember, yes, it was Rich Gannon, because he was the former Raiders quarterback, and they asked him about, what was the difference for you when you played earlier in your career with teams like the Chiefs to when you got to the Raiders? And he said, when I got to the Raiders, he said, John Gruden allowed me to stop trying to think so much and just go out there and execute the offense. And he said, it made me a better quarterback. That's why I won league MVP. And I think that when you look at the quarterback position, when you're asking Jalen to just execute, you're not asking him to be Peyton Manning. You're not asking him to be Pat Mahomes. You're not asking him to be Johnny Unitas, Roger Staubach. These guys who were processors of information at a high rate of speed. Not every quarterback can do that. Look what happened to Kirk Cousins yesterday. Kirk Cousins had two of the worst interceptions you've ever seen in the Falcons versus Chargers game because he was just thinking. It was like, again, you saw the steam almost coming out of his head. Like he was, the brain was churning so much. And then he made the wrong decision. I think that's a big part of it for Jalen. Jeff from Ocean City chimes in at 609-403-097. He says, Josh, I feel like the Lions are determined to get to the Super Bowl this year after falling short last year. What percentage odds do you give the Eagles to host the Lions in the NFC Championship game? Well, the odds I would put on it, I think it's fair to say 50-50 because there's two issues that go into this. Number one, let's say the Eagles lose at least one game down the stretch. And let's hope it is, like I said, to the Steelers. That way you don't lose a game in the conference. You look at a team like the Lions, and you realize that they have a chance to lose more than one game down the stretch. The Eagles probably lose no more than two games because they got to go to Washington as well. They play the Steelers at home in a couple weeks. But between Green Bay, Buffalo, San Francisco, and Minnesota, that's 4 of their last 5 games against teams they definitely could beat them. And don't discount the 49ers because they are going to be without Christian McCaffrey and the running back Jordan Mason for the rest of the year. That team is still fighting for a chance at a playoff spot. The NFC West is so poor, it is so mediocre, that you could totally see the 49ers just fighting to the very end of the season. And then that final game of the year, Minnesota Lions, final game of the season could be for the division. Come on, man. I mean, that's a huge game. And then this Thursday night against Green Bay. You don't think Green Bay is trying to make a playoff as well? Of course they are. And then Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo wants the number 1 seed. They want everyone to come through Buffalo for the postseason. So you got 4 teams on your schedule who all have something to potentially play for. And then Chicago. It's at Chicago. You don't think the Bears are not looking back at that Thursday night game and saying we should have, could have won that game against you if our head coach wasn't an imbecile and that's why we fired him? Come on, man. So to me, I would put it at 50-50 right now, but it could go higher depending on what happens on Thursday night. By the way, I like the under in Monday Night Football tonight. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great night, everybody.
Sixers basketball tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Maxey steps back, three-point shot up. It's good. Maxey delivering. The Sixers take the lead, and the crowd is absolutely stunned.
It's Sixers Hornet tomorrow night. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.